Ray Skywalker, Anne Shirley, Wonder Woman, Ada Shelby Thorne, Katniss Everdeen, Jo March, Yennefer of Vagenburg, and Susan Pevensey. How much do all these women have in common? Not very much, despite the fact that they all pass the Bechdel test. The Bechdel test was established in 1985, pretty recent considering the times. And the Bechdel test is the ultimate feminist perspective of film. It reflects the idea if women in the media are reflective of real life. Are these women good role models? Are they good for me, for my children, for my friends that I'm showing these films to? I have used several websites and a few books today to compile my information. So, what even is the Bechdel test? As I mentioned, it was established in 1985, really recent, and it only has three components. Number one, you must have two named women characters in your film. They must talk to each other, and they must talk to each other about something other than men. Plenty of films pass all three, and about 45% in 2015 pass even more of these steps. They pass one or two. As we see in this first graph here, the number of films that pass have increased exponentially since 1970. Here is the pie chart from 2014. 42% of these movies passed, 5% failed, and all of these ones passed one or two of the steps. It sounds simple, doesn't it? It's actually harder than you might think. Films are largely centered around our budgets these days. How much money a studio can move around, how many actors they can get, how many writers they can have. Actor numbers are easily affected by this. Less is more in screenwriting. You have less people on screen, the easier it is to get the audience to care about their arcs. It is far easier and far less money consuming to have fewer actors. This affects how many women specifically we see on screen. There's about one woman for about every 3 to 4 men shown on screen. Our society was largely patriarchal before the 1970s specifically, which is conveniently where that first graph started. Is the test still valid in this form? We need to update this test. We have overcorrected and have swung too far the other way. We started with 0 women, and now we have only women in our films that are not talking about men, no matter the circumstance. Male characters talk about their love lives, and it makes them more of a man. They talk about their girlfriends, their wives, their boyfriends, their conquests, and all of this adds into the fact of being more of a man. It's more masculine. Why can't women talk about their love lives? This is another visual of various films. It's not great quality, I apologize. And surprisingly, we have films like The Avengers, Fast Five, Jurassic Park that do pass. We also have films like Avatar, Cars, and the Mission Impossible films that do not pass for various reasons or another. Scripts need to be written to have more than one female protagonist, which is rare in of itself in this day and age. When the script puts enough work into it, we can get these women characters having conversations with their male counterparts or about their love lives, but they need to have scenes where they don't do that as well in order to pass the Bechdel test. This test also needs to be updated to include women on the LGBTQIA spectrum. It is nowhere to be found in this original setup. So how can we change the current form? We need to move beyond women just existing in our films, and we need to move beyond the idea, and we need to be better. We need to get these women bigger roles in how they change the film's arc, not just being in it. Mean Girls from 2004 surprisingly does pass the Bechdel test, but stereotypes and the tongue-in-cheek ideas presented in the film are largely what our society does not want for our women growing up. Controversially, The House of Gucci from 2021 does not pass this Bechdel test, but only on a technicality. There are 2 women, they do talk to each other. The catch is, though, that they talk to each other about murdering one of their husbands. This falls under they're talking about men, which means this film does not pass because of that technicality. The other issue with the Bechdel test's current standing is that it's highly subjective. Like I just said, there's a lot of gray area where talking about men is falling under, oh, lovey-dovey, I'm so in love, or talking about them in a factual standpoint. It's very different and it's highly subjective. I believe the first two steps, having two women, having them talk to each other, those are great. We need to hold on to those. The third step is where I propose new changes. I believe that the third rule should state that in their conversation together, they mention something about our society, or whatever society they're currently living in. This presents the character's thoughts and ideas and helps with the world building as well. This can be about men. This also is expanded to include women on the LGBTQIA spectrum as well. It's really much broader and encompasses a lot more than the original did. Is the Bechdel test still valid in our current form? No. The world is changing, and we need to change our analysis to go with it.